The entire alien chamber froze the moment the humans started bleeding. Not screaming, not resisting, just standing there calm. And that was the first thing that terrified them. Because nothing in the galaxy stayed calm while the biocore fed. Yet somehow, he did. Ethan had been in bad situations before, but this one felt different. Not louder, not more dangerous, just wrong. Thin glowing strands were attached to his arms, pulling his blood into the massive structure in the center of the chamber. The biocore. A living machine. A dying one. Well, Ethan muttered, forcing a dry smile, this is easily the worst medical checkup I've ever had. No one reacted. They never did. Tall, elegant aliens surrounded him, their long ears slightly tilted back, their expressions unreadable.
Too calm.
Too controlled.
But now,
they were watching him like something impossible was happening. Your vitals remain stable, one of them said. That's surprising, Ethan replied, because I feel like I should be panicking. Silence. Of course. Then the core pulsed.
Hard.
The light inside it flickered, unstable for a moment, before locking into a steady rhythm. Ethan's rhythm. He felt it instantly. His heartbeat echoed back at him. Stronger. Louder.
Wrong.
Okay, he whispered. That's new. Across the chamber, the queen moved. A small motion. But every alien straightened instantly. She's responding, someone said quietly. Ethan looked up. Minutes ago, she had looked like she was fading, barely alive.
Now.
She inhaled sharply. Her posture straightened. Her eyes opened.
Clear. Alive.
Well, Ethan exhaled. That's definitely better. Still no reaction. He didn't expect one. The pull from the core increased. Not painful, but deeper. Like it wasn't just taking blood anymore. It was reaching into something else. Hey, Ethan called. Quick question. No answer. Is it supposed to feel like I'm sinking with your giant alien heart? A pause. Then, no. Ethan nodded slowly. Fantastic. Really comforting. The core flared again. This time the entire chamber reacted. Lights activated. Energy moved through the walls. Everything aligned. With him. Ethan's breath caught. This isn't random, he said quietly. It's reacting to me. The queen stepped down from her platform. No weakness now. No hesitation. Every movement precise, controlled, powerful. She stopped in front of him.
Close. You, she said.
Ethan gave a small nod. Still me. Her gaze locked onto his. You are not merely compatible. He swallowed. That sounds like a problem. The core pulsed again. Stronger.
Deeper.
And something inside it shifted. Unlocked. You are recognized, she said. The word hit harder than anything else. Recognized. Not chosen. Not selected. Recognized. As if this had always been waiting for him. Ethan looked at the core, then back at her. Yeah, he said slowly. I'm going to need a better explanation. No one spoke. Because they didn't have one. The strands detached from his arms. One by one. But the connection didn't fade. It stayed. Quiet. Constant. Like something had anchored inside him. You should sit, a scientist said. I feel fine. You should sit. Yeah, okay, Ethan muttered, lowering himself. The queen approached again. Different now. Stronger. Alive in a way she hadn't been before. That should have been comforting. It wasn't. You remain stable, she said. I'm taking that as a compliment. It is an observation. I'll still take it. A projection lit up beside them. Symbols. Data. Patterns. All aligning into one repeating signal. This sequence matches your genetic structure, a scientist said. Ethan squinted. Right, he nodded. I'm going to pretend that means something good. It has never occurred before. Yeah, he sighed. That's usually not good. The queen stepped closer. The core was designed to respond, she said. To what? Ethan asked. Her gaze didn't move. We do not know. Ethan exhaled. Ancient system. Unknown creators. And now it's connected to me. Yes.
Yeah.
That tracks. Then, the core pulsed again. But this time, it didn't take. It gave. Ethan froze. Something rushed into his mind. Not images. Not sound. Understanding. Instant. He whispered. I know what it does. Every alien turned toward him. The Queen's voice sharpened. Explain. Ethan looked at the core.
Then at them.
It connects everything, he said slowly. Your systems, your bodies, your energy. He swallowed. It keeps your entire species in balance. Silence. Heavy. Because that knowledge should not exist. You are part of it now, the Queen said. Ethan exhaled.
Yeah.
I figured. Then, the doors opened. Hard. Not silent this time. Not controlled. 5 figures entered.
Different.
Stronger presence. Colder.
Authority.
The council, someone whispered. Ethan glanced at them. Of course. The central figure stepped forward. You are connected to the core. Yes. This connection is unacceptable. Ethan blinked. I didn't realize I had a choice. You must be separated. He let out a short laugh. Please do. A pause. Then, it may result in your termination. Silence. Even the core seemed to hesitate. Ethan's smile faded. Right, he said quietly. That part one don't like. The council moved closer. This anomaly must be corrected. Ethan straightened. I'm not an anomaly. You are. Before anything escalated, the Queen stepped forward.
Between them.
He is not to be harmed. He is a risk. He is the reason I live. Silence. Real silence. Ethan raised a hand slightly. I support that argument, but the council didn't move. Didn't agree. Their leader spoke again. This situation will be resolved. The core pulsed. Stronger. Closer. Watching. And for the first time, Ethan understood something terrifying. This wasn't about survival anymore. It was about control. And something ancient had already chosen him. The core pulsed again. Slow. Deliberate. And this time, Ethan felt it before anyone else reacted. Not as pain. Not as pressure. But as awareness. Like something vast had just turned its attention toward him. Okay, he said quietly, glancing at the Queen. It's doing that thing again. What thing? She asked. That thing where I feel like I'm being noticed. Across the chamber, the council stiffened. The synchronization is increasing, one of the scientists said, voice tighter now. That is not possible, another replied. Ethan let out a small breath. Yeah, he muttered. You guys say that a lot right before something very possible happens. The core's light shifted. Not wild anymore. Not unstable. Controlled. Precise. Every pulse matched Ethan's heartbeat perfectly. And then, it changed. Instead of pulling from him, it started responding to him. Ethan blinked. Wait. He raised his hand slightly. Just a small movement. Nothing dramatic. But the core reacted instantly. Its light surged. The entire chamber brightened. Everyone froze. Ethan slowly lowered his hand. The core dimmed. Returned to normal. Silence. Heavy. Absolute. I didn't like that, Ethan said. No one answered. Because they were all staring at him. The core is responding to his motor signals, a scientist whispered. That is not a response, another said. That is control. Ethan blinked. No, he said quickly. Let's not use that word. The council stepped forward again. More urgent now. You see the danger, their leader said. He must be separated immediately. Separation may destabilize the core, a scientist argued. Then we accept that risk. Ethan raised a hand.
Quick question, he said.
Why is my death suddenly the preferred solution? You are interfering with a system beyond your comprehension. That's fair, Ethan nodded. But I'd like to continue living while not understanding it. The tension snapped tighter. The Queen didn't move. Didn't step aside. He will not be harmed, she said again. The core pulsed. Stronger. And Ethan felt it.
Clearer now.
Not just awareness. Information. He staggered slightly. Hey, he said, gripping his head. Okay, that's new. What is happening? The Queen asked. Ethan shook his head. I don't know.
He stopped.
His expression changed. I do know, he whispered. The room went still again. What do you perceive? A scientist asked. Ethan looked at the core, but his eyes weren't confused anymore. They were focused. It's not just reacting, he said slowly. It's learning. The word hit harder than anything before. Learning. It's adapting to me, Ethan continued. To my patterns, my thoughts. He swallowed. And it's doing it fast. That is impossible, the council leader said sharply. No, Ethan replied quietly. It's already happening. The core pulsed again. And this time, the connection deepened. Ethan gasped. Not in pain. In clarity. I can feel it, he said. Everything. What does that mean? The queen asked. Ethan turned to her. And for the first time, he didn't look uncertain. It means your entire system, your ships, your energy grids, your biology. He exhaled slowly. They're all connected through this. The scientist stared at him, because that knowledge should not be accessible. And now, the queen asked. Ethan hesitated. Just for a second. Now it's connected to me, he said. Silence. The council leader stepped forward. This confirms the threat. Ethan looked at them. No, he said. It confirms something else. What? The leader demanded. Ethan turned back to the core, feeling that steady pulse, that quiet presence. It chose me. The chamber shifted, not physically, but in meaning. Selection must be reversed, the council said. It cannot be reversed, the queen replied. You cannot guarantee that. No, she said calmly. But neither can you guarantee survival if you try. That stopped them. Ethan looked between them. I'd just like to point out, he said, that I'm still here while you're all debating whether I should be. No response. The core pulsed again. Softer now, but deeper. Ethan felt something new. Not control. Not pressure.
Choice.
He frowned slightly. Wait. What is it? The queen asked. Ethan looked at her. Then at the core. It's not forcing anything, he said. The scientists exchanged glances. Clarify. Ethan took a slow breath. It's connected to me, but it's not controlling me.
He paused.
It's waiting. For what? The queen asked. Ethan met her gaze. For me to decide. Silence fell again. But this time, it was different. Because for the first time, the power in the room didn't belong to the council, or the scientists, or even the queen. It belonged to the human they thought was weak. The council leader stepped forward one last time. You'll be separated from the core, they said firmly. Ethan looked at them, then at the queen, then back at the core. And slowly, he shook his head. No, he said. The core pulsed.
Strong. Certain.
And every alien in the chamber felt it. The decision had been made, but not by them. The core did not calm down. It evolved. The moment Ethan chose to stay, something deeper awakened. Not just inside the system, but inside him. The pulse changed. Slower. Heavier. More deliberate. Like a heartbeat that no longer needed to rush. Ethan felt it instantly. And this time, it wasn't just connection. It was awareness. Okay, he whispered, eyes narrowing. That's definitely new. The chamber lights dimmed slightly. Not because of failure, but because the core no longer needed them. It was regulating everything itself. The synchronization is still increasing, a scientist said, voice tense. That should not be happening after stabilization. Ethan exhaled slowly. Yeah, he muttered, starting to think your system has its own plans. The queen stepped closer, her gaze sharper now. You feel something different, not a question. Ethan nodded.
Yeah.
He looked at the core, then at his hands. It's not just connected anymore, he said. It's integrating. Silence. The word hit harder than anything before. That process must be stopped, the council leader said immediately. Ethan looked at them. Pretty sure we're past that point. The core pulsed again. And suddenly, the entire chamber shifted. Not physically, but structurally. Panels along the walls began to move. Reconfiguring. Adapting. What is it doing? One of the scientists asked. Ethan didn't answer right away, because he already knew. It's changing, he said quietly. To what? The queen asked. Ethan swallowed. To match me? The room went completely still. That is not possible, the council leader snapped. Ethan gave a small, tired smile. You keep saying that. Another pulse. Stronger. And this time, everyone felt it. The core wasn't just stabilizing anymore.
It was upgrading.
Energy output is increasing across all systems, a scientist said rapidly. Efficiency levels are exceeding maximum projections. Ethan blinked. Wait, he said. Is that a good thing? No, the scientist replied. Because we do not understand it. Right. Ethan nodded. Of course. The Queen stepped closer again. Now only a few steps away. If the core fully integrates with you, she said, you may become its central interface. Ethan froze. That sounds important. It is. He rubbed his face. Define important. You would not just be connected to our civilization, she said. You would be part of its foundation. Ethan let out a quiet breath. Yeah, he muttered. That's slightly bigger than I was hoping for. The core pulsed again. And suddenly, Ethan staggered. Hey, okay. He grabbed his head. What is happening? The Queen asked sharply. Ethan inhaled sharply. It's too much. But then, it stopped.
Not forced.
Not cut off. Balanced. Ethan straightened slowly, breathing steady again. I'm okay, he said. The scientist stared.
Confused.
That level of input should have overwhelmed him, one whispered. Ethan shook his head. No, he said quietly. It adjusted. To you? The Queen asked. He nodded. It didn't want to hurt me. Silence. Because that idea, that the core could choose restraint, had never existed before. The council stepped forward again. More urgent now. This confirms the instability, their leader said. The system is no longer predictable. Ethan looked at them. No, he replied calmly. It's just no longer yours. That landed hard. The core pulsed again. And this time, something changed outside the chamber. Lights across the distant structures flickered, then stabilized. Brighter. Stronger. External systems are responding, a scientist said. The entire network is aligning. Ethan felt it. Not directly, but clearly. It's spreading, he said. The Queen's gaze sharpened. Spreading how? Ethan looked at her. The connection, he said. It's not just here anymore. A pause. It's everywhere. Silence fell again. But this time, it wasn't fear. It was realization. The core wasn't just stabilizing a queen. It was reshaping an entire civilization. And at the center of it stood one human. The council leader took a slow step forward. If this continues, they said, you will control everything. Ethan shook his head. No, he said quietly. I won't. The core pulsed.
Soft. Certain.
Because that's not what it wants. The Queen watched him closely. Then what does it want? She asked. Ethan turned toward the core, feeling that steady rhythm, that calm presence. And, for the first time, he smiled. It wants balance, he said. Another pulse. And it chose me. He exhaled slowly. Because I won't try to control it. The chamber went completely silent. Because, in that moment, they all understood something terrifying. The core hadn't chosen power. It had chosen restraint. And the only species capable of that was human. But the integration wasn't finished. Not yet. The core pulsed again, stronger than before. And Ethan felt it. One final shift beginning. Something bigger. Something irreversible. Okay, he whispered. That's definitely not the end of this. The core pulsed. And everything stopped. Not failed.
Not shut down. Paused.
The entire chamber froze in perfect stillness. Lights held mid-glow. Systems locked in place. Even the faint hum of energy vanished. Ethan felt it immediately. Not outside. Inside. Okay, he whispered. That's new. This wasn't like before. Not information. Not connection. This was a decision. Something ancient was about to finish what it started. Report, the council leader demanded. No one answered, because nothing was responding, except Ethan. He closed his eyes slowly, and for the first time, he didn't resist it. The core opened to him, not as power, not as control, but as truth. He saw fragments, not images but understanding, a system built long before the civilization existed. A design meant to maintain balance across something far greater than a single species. And one rule above all: it could never be controlled, only guided. Ethan inhaled slowly. That's why, he whispered. The Queen stepped closer. You understand. He nodded. It didn't choose the strongest, he said. It didn't choose the smartest. His eyes opened.
Calm now. Clear.
It chose the one who wouldn't try to own it. Silence. The core pulsed again. And this time, everything resumed. But different. The systems didn't restart in chaos. They flowed. Perfectly aligned. The chamber lights stabilized into a soft, steady glow. The distant network hummed back to life. Stronger than before. It's complete, one scientist whispered. Ethan exhaled slowly. Yeah, he said. I felt that. The integration had ended. No more surges. No more instability. Just balance. The Queen stepped forward until she stood directly in front of him. Closer than ever before. It has accepted you fully, she said. Ethan gave a small nod. Feels mutual. Behind them, the council stood silent. For the first time, they had nothing to say. No orders. No control. Because the system they depended on no longer answered to them. It answered to something else. The council leader finally stepped forward. Slow. Measured. You now hold influence over our entire civilization, they said. Ethan shook his head. No, he replied. The core pulsed softly. I don't hold it, he continued. I share it. That answer hit harder than any show of power. Because it wasn't dominance. It was trust. The Queen watched him closely. And, this time, there was no doubt in her expression. You have changed everything, she said. Ethan let out a quiet breath. I didn't mean to. Intent does not alter outcome, she replied. He smiled slightly. Yeah, you've said that before. A brief silence followed. Not heavy this time. Not tense. Peaceful. Ethan turned back to the core. Its steady rhythm echoed faintly within him. Not overwhelming. Not demanding. Present. So, he said quietly, what happens now? The Queen stepped beside him. Not above. Not ahead.
Equal.
Now, she said, we learn. Ethan glanced at her. We. She met his gaze. You are part of this now. He exhaled slowly, then nodded. Yeah, he said. I guess I am. Far beyond the chamber. The effects had already begun. Entire systems recalibrated. Energy stabilized. Conflicts paused. For the first time, their civilization wasn't just surviving. It was balanced. And at the center of it stood the one being no one had expected. A human.
Weak.
Fragile. Unpredictable. And yet, the only one the core had ever fully accepted. Not because of strength, but because of something no other species had shown. Restraint. Empathy.
Choice.
Ethan looked at the core one last time. Then at the Queen. You know, he said, a few days ago, my biggest problem was surviving my assignments. She tilted her head slightly. And now? He smiled faintly. Now I'm helping run an ancient alien system. A pause. No pressure. For the first time, she smiled fully. Not controlled. Not restrained. Real. The core pulsed again. Steady. Endless. Not as a machine, but as something alive. And now, it wasn't alone, because it had found something rare. Not a ruler. Not a master. But a partner. And that changed everything. Ethan took a slow breath, feeling the quiet connection settle deeper. Not consuming him. Becoming part of him. And for the first time, he wasn't unsure. He wasn't afraid. He had chosen this. And somehow, that made all the difference. The core pulsed once more. Steady.
Certain.
And the galaxy would never be the same again.